Hi, good morning. My name is Adrian Lecaros and I'm your host for this segment, my insurance segment. And with me today is none other than a person I really admire for being hardworking and the ability to build a team across the United States. Her name is Therese Gajete. Hi, Therese.
Hi, Adrian.
Welcome to the Coffee Corner Show.
Thank you for inviting me here.
And thank you for being our guest today. I just wanted to tell the viewers, Therese, how long have you been doing the insurance business?
Well, I've been here for about 8 years now.
8 years?
Yes.
Did you always start, did you start in the insurance business when you got here, or did you start somewhere else in another field?
No, honestly, I never thought about doing insurance like anybody.
What were you doing before insurance?
Well, I was a realtor. And I so happened to be doing real estate during the time that it was booming. Between the years of 2005 through 2000.
I remember those fun years. 2005, 2007. You got your license as a realtor, right?
I did get my license.
And how was it?
And it was awesome. I was closing escrows left and right, considering I was a neophyte in the industry. But I've always believed that if a person is really motivated, you'll always find ways to find clients. And it was really much easier then.
It was. What happened, if I remember correctly, there was a boom and there was a bust. What happened during the bust years for real estate?
Well, personally, if I'd speak from experience, 2006, it was really awesome, you know. For somebody who's new in the industry, I was closing at least 4 escrows a month.
Wow,
and that
nice
would be
money.
around like 7 to 10,000. I wasn't hitting on the big accounts, but if you're closing 4 escrows, that's over 20K a month.
That's nice.
And all of a sudden, 2007 came. Well, before that happened, everybody was talking about the bubble bursting in just a matter of time. And that actually happened in 2007. And right about the same time that I got the bubble for my one and only child that is now 10 years old, and
Nathan, right?
Nathan.
Yes.
And that was really a really bad time because most of the lenders were no longer lending. Most homes were up for short sale, and practically a lot of realtors were new at that time, and we weren't really familiar with how short sales were being done and it became a pretty tough time for me as a realtor.
So real estate was not a good time to do business as a realtor. You had Nathan, I imagine he must be 1 year old at that time?
No, I was pregnant with
Oh,
Nathan
you were pregnant.
when the whole economy crashed, including real estate. And that was really a turning point for me, because as much as it was a scare, because now that there wasn't anything to do in real estate, I'm going to have a child, and you know, my husband also works on commission. He manages a dealership. Even up to now he does. And when sales go down with the company, obviously his money also goes down.
Yes.
And I had to really act quickly. And I one fateful day, I met with my co-realtors after I gave birth, like, you know, a month after I gave birth. I had no time to waste.
1 month.
We gathered up in Starbucks and we were doing some brainstorming, and obviously there wasn't really anything to talk about at that time, because as much as we wanted to sell a house, no lender was lending.
No lender.
So that day, I was on my way home. I stopped by, as usual, in my husband's office, where I used to get a lot of leads. And I saw his coworker, and right there, he invited me to this thing that most people would call, and I attended a meeting, and that was the fateful day that I got into the insurance industry.
That's a good day. That was a good day.
Yes, that was December 6, 2007. I will never forget that day.
And fast forward, I know you've had the challenges, or you've been doing this since
2008.
2008. And how did you start?
Well, I think I thought I was lucky, you know. I think what really made things lucky for me was because I was completely, absolutely motivated to make a lot of money. I always had the notion that when I got invited into this industry, I always set a figure as to how much money I wanted to make.
And what was that figure?
And I was sold into the dream that I could make $10,000 a month here, because less than 10,000 was not acceptable for me coming from the real estate industry. And I guess I believe what the person told me, and that I put it in my mind, and that's why I worked with a kind of effort that somebody would be doing to make that money. And it was a good start for me. And within, a year or so, I became a broker in the company.
Nice.
Putting that mindset in my mind.
A full-time mindset.
I did it full-time because I was a full-time mom, and I didn't want to do anything else except be full-time in what I'm doing, and there wasn't any real estate to do anyway, and that's why I made a commitment to spend my full-time mindset into this industry as much as when I'm inside the environment of the office back then. We were actually together in that office.
In Woodland Hills.
Yes.
And I imagine there's been changes, developments in how insurance in general has evolved throughout these years. Can you tell us more about the different evolution stages of insurance?
Well, most people think that insurance is an expense, first of all.
Expense.
Why? Because it's something intangible. And people think about giving it up as soon as life happens. When financial hardship happen, people tend to let go of insurance. But what they don't realize is that insurance should stay, because when a family is under stress, a lot of crazy things happen, most especially with the health. And if the breadwinner, either one of the breadwinner goes away, none of the other expenses are going to get paid. And that's what happened with me and my husband, during that time, like I said, when I didn't have real estate, we were in a financial crisis. And he was wanting us to cancel our policy.
Oh, no.
And thank God, faithfully, I joined the company. I told him, if we cancel our life insurance, then you know what? If something happens to you, our sole breadwinner, with the baby that we have, what do you think will happen to us?
Not going
and that's how most people think about life insurance. But because of what I've learned in this company, life insurance is not just about getting a death benefit when somebody dies. It's about supplementing your retirement income with whatever money that you make. Don't mistake me for saying that life insurance can be an investment, but life insurance itself is a protection for the family, such that at least even though the income earner is gone, the income stays. And that's the most important purpose of life insurance. But over time, it has evolved,
Yes.
People can actually save some money into their policies and, supplement their retirement. With the 8 years that I've been in the industry, I've already had clients who actually took in money that they were able to use for whatever purpose they have. One big deal for me is a client that I have who's still my client right now, who's basically a nanny. A nanny who doesn't even have a 401k, other forms of retirement, and she basically wanted life insurance because just in case something happens to her, her family would have income. But over the years that she stayed on with me, she was able to take out some money that she was able to use as a down payment for her condominium that she bought in the Philippines. For me, that's a big deal. She wouldn't have saved that money if not because we approached her. Now, over time, additional benefits came about with life insurance, and one of them is the long-term care benefit.
What is long-term care?
Well, long-term care, technically, if I will define it, is the care that is needed when somebody's not able to perform 2 out of the 6 activities of daily living, such as eating, bathing, dressing, toileting, continence, and transferring. That's basically when a person needs a caregiver. So what if somebody is gainfully employed, or somebody is making really good money, and all of a sudden disability happens? Some not really permanent, but more than 90 days.
How about a snow skiing accident?
Something like that.
Snowboarding,
or
snow
how
skiing.
about the disease? Well, honestly, I have my first client right now who will be claiming on my long-term care, on the long-term care benefit of the policy that the person has.
Without going to specifics, what was the general scenario? How did that come about?
Well, this person I sat down with 2 years ago was perfectly healthy. A lady who's about my age, going about her life. I see the person on Facebook traveling to different countries, enjoying, perfect health. And 2 years later, I got a phone call and learned that the person has failing lungs.
Failing. What age?
And about 50.
My age.
Yes, and to my surprise, having that person's picture in my mind, I couldn't believe. And if you would think there was no smoker in the family,
None.
the person works in an office and lived a healthy life, would do her daily walks, as exercise, and would go back and forth to work. I believe the person is an accountant, and 2 years later is now on wait list for a lung transplant.
Lung
And that
replacement.
automatically
Wow.
qualifies that person for this additional benefit that now we share with a lot of people
As an income replacement because she cannot
as an
work.
income replacement.
Yes.
And that's pretty awesome. It's not just about selling life insurance. It's basically all about making an impact on a person's life.
Yes, I can imagine income replacement would come in handy, this long-term term care benefit.
Definitely.
And what about, I know we were talking about accidents, but what are the other risk factors that would necessitate long-term care?
Well, the automatic qualifications would be Alzheimer's, senility, and dementia. With the over 60, how do I put it? Over 67 million baby boomers that are aging right now. As if I could put it properly, every single day, 7,000 baby boomers are turning 65. And when somebody turns 65, there are only two things they're most concerned about.
Yes.
It's their health and their retirement. And when somebody turns 65, basically, they're not completely healthy anymore. True?
True.
So, and that's why I think the health industry is booming, because there are a lot of aging people that are needing the care, and that's one solution that we provide for them.
Yes, and I don't want to be the bringer of bad news, but the big C. What are the statistics, if you know?
Well, it's 1 out of 2 women will be diagnosed with cancer, and one out of 3 women and 1 out of 2 men,
The men,
will be
half-
diagnosed with
half
a dreaded
will be
disease
diagnosed with
called
cancer. Wow.
And it's no longer about old people. We're seeing a lot of juvenile cancer patients nowadays. So it's
Juvenile, yeah.
yes, we are, right? Even newborns already have cancer, and that was something that wasn't there quite a while ago. The other thing that we are most concerned about, that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, but it's creating more awareness now, is that more and more people are living longer. We have more centenarians in the last so many decades now that are still alive right now. And if they didn't plan for their retirement early on in their 40 strong years of their lives, how do we expect for them to survive
Yes.
in the remaining 40 to 60 years of their living life as retired people?
You're quite right. There's so many people living past 100. Used to be, if I remember correctly, the maximum age was 100 years old to be covered. But now, what is it? 100?
That's very true. When I first started in this industry, if somebody turns 100 years old and they have a policy, the insurance company will voluntarily pay them the death benefit. But because more and more people are living over 100, all these company providers increase their maximum term to 120 years. Simply because nobody has lived 120 years so far,
So
right?
people are living longer.
Yes, but the good side of it is that if anybody passes before 120 years old, definitely a death benefit will be paid out to the loved ones of that person.
Yes. So, we want to be able to share more insights to our viewers about the evolution, the developments, new developments about life insurance and the different products out there. I do hope that we can invite you back to our next episode here at the Coffee Corner.
Well, thank you, Adrian. I really appreciate you inviting me here. I hope we were able to share some of our insights and hopefully change the impression that the majority have about life insurance. And I think part of my team's name is Team Life Changers.
Yes.
That's our goal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So Team Life Changers, we change lives for the better.
We change people's lives for the better, one family at a time.
Thank you very much, Therese.
Thanks, Adrian.
Back to you.